Before I show you a single number, I want you to picture something small. A folding sign outside a tiny storefront telling now franchising. That's how the company started, not with a business plan. It started with a husband who loved a soup shop from a TV show and a wife who spent her entire career learning that treating people is business. That's Princeton Soup and Sandwich Co. Today, I'm not here to just present a growth strategy, but in fact, help them to be exactly who they are and at the size that finally matches the amount of love people have for them. Here's the honest version of their story. In 2023, they solved the problem that nearly broke them 585 square feet, no seating, a kitchen too small for how much people wanted from them. They built Cranberry. But solving one constraint quietly created another. That new capacity isn't fully being used. And underneath it, like almost every restaurant in America right now, rising labor and food costs are eating margin they earned the hard way. So our strategy is simple and discipline to execute. Four moves, smart pickup at Princeton, two new revenue lines from Cranberry, locked in ingredient contracts, and smarter staffing. Together, we estimate about $300,000 in first year impact. I'll walk you through exactly where that number comes from. Issue 1. Let's start where they started. The original shop, 585 square feet, no seating, and a lunch rush. 11:30 to 1:30, where every minute of line time is a customer deciding whether today is the day. They just give up and go somewhere else. That's just revenue walking out of the door because the space was never built to move all people fast. So, meanwhile, 20 minutes away, Cranberry sits ready, built for catering surges and quiet most weekday mornings. Two locations, two completely different problems. One is too small for its movement, and the other is too big for its average day. So, issue two, margin pressure. Now, that's the part that's harder to see on menu but shows on every single month's profit and loss account. Restaurant turnover nationally is over 75% a year. Every time someone walks out of the door for good, it costs this family $2,700 to $6,000 to replace them in training, in lost speed, and in quiet cost of a new person learning what crafted with love actually means to make in real time. Labor cost has climbed from about 23% of its revenue in 2021 towards 30% plus today. Food costs are trending towards 35% for a lot of operators. This family has 20 years of vendor relationships, real trust, not just supply contracts, and even that isn't fully insulating them from them anymore. So our first recommendation the is to install a heated smart pickup station right inside the existing Princeton space. No renovation, no added square footage. A student or professor orders ahead on their phone, gets a code, and is in and out in under 15 seconds instead of standing in a 20-minute pickup line. So, this isn't about replacing the counter experience for everyone, it's about giving back the choice to the people who are just trying to grab lunch between classes and meetings. We estimate around $40,000 a year in revenue that's currently walking away simply because the wait line was too long. This is where Cranberry's quiet mornings can become engine of this whole plan. First, a corporate lunch subscription, we're calling it Crafted Care, for offices along Route 1 corridor, recurring weekly orders produced during hours the kitchen is already open but underused. 15 accounts at $1,200 a month is $216,000 in predictable recurring revenue. Not one time sale, a relationship the same way the family has always built them. Second, shelf stable soup jars sold wholesale into regional grocers like McCaffrey's and Campus Grab and Go Spots. It's a beautiful piece of symmetry, honestly. This business started as a franchise of a soup shop and its original franchisor eventually pivoted towards grocery. This is the same idea, but it's built independently on their own terms and on their own recipes. We estimate about $47,000 in net profit from that alone. Recommendation 3 would be farm to soup contracts. Now, protecting what makes this all work, the food itself. We are recommending fixed rates, seasonal contracts with trusted New Jersey's farms, deciding on relationships this family has already spent 2 decades earning. It does two things at once. It locks in pricing against the volatility hitting the whole industry, and it becomes a story worth telling, farmed about seasonal menus shaped by their daughter's CIA training that turn sourcing into something customers can taste and see. We estimate that this protects roughly 72,000 a year dollars a year that would otherwise be lost to food cost inflation. Recommendation 4, and the piece that protects the people, not just the margin. We use POS analytics system that they already have, no new technology purchase, to staff to actual forecasted demand instead of habit. We formalize an externship pipeline with the Culinary Institute of America and regional programs, building on a connection this family already has. And we cross train between locations so two sites start acting like one team instead of two. Estimated impact about $89,000 a year in labor and turnover savings, but honestly the numbers that matters more is the one we can't put on spreadsheet. Fewer people leaving the place that calls itself crafted with love. None of these happens all at once, and it of course shouldn't. Month 0 to 3, pickup system sign our first retail accounts, turn on predictive scheduling. Month 3 to 9, scale the subscription, lock the farm contracts, and build a pipeline. Month 9 to 18, expand what's working and reassess everything against real numbers. Small, provable wins first, and it's pretty much scalable. Our financial projections for first year, let's put it all together: 40,000 from smart pickup, 216,000 from B2B subscriptions, 47,000 in retail profit, 72,000 in food cost protected, 89,000 in labor savings. Directionally, that's over 300,000 in 1 year. I want to be completely transparent with y'all. These are built on industry benchmarks and not on the actual Princeton soup and sandwich actual books because they weren't available to us. The next year step is quite simple. We just plug in this in the real POS and vendor numbers and run a cash flow model for the upfront cost of the locker hardware and initial inventory. The model is built to be very honest and not really flattering in this case. So, how do we know if it's working? Peak hour capacity up 35%, 15 subscription accounts signed in year one, growing retail accounts and repeat orders, food cost held at 28 to 30%, labor cost in 28 to 33% range, with turnover 55%. Here's what I keep coming back to: this family didn't need us to hand them a kitchen, a recipe, or a reason they care. They already have all of that, 20 years of it. What they needed is for the capacity to work as hard in every hour of every day as they have. The next chapter for Princeton Soup and Sandwich Co. isn't at the location, it's not starting over either. It's just using fully what they already have, built with so much care. They call it crafted with love. What we're proposing is simply this: let's scale this with the same love, with a little bit discipline. All of our source and assumption are here for your reference. Every benchmark we used is publicly available and cited, and I'm happy to walk you through this in our Q&A session.